Welcome to It Takes Two. My name is Chris, and I'm here to review Love Island USA, Season 7, Episode 8. I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We are very close to 7,000. We are about 300 subscribers away from it, and with your help, I know we can do it. Now, listen here. You know, before we get into the episode, I got to give you my major points of what we're going to talk about in the episode. So let's go with point number one. Let's start with point number one. Ace and Jeremiah are little boys. Both of them. Both. Ace and Jeremiah are little boys. Let's go to point number two. Amaya, we got to get you off the island, girl. No, you're not crazy. Okay, you may be a little crazy. But you didn't make yourself crazy. But for our safety, we are going to get you off the island because this place doesn't bring you peace anymore, Amaya. You're crashing out on people who didn't do anything. You mad at people who really have no say in your relationship and things of that nature. So this is not a good place for you. We got to get you home. And point number three, Shelly needs to take accountability for the part that she plays in this love triangle. There are many parts that she plays that she is basically letting things just flow besides actually putting her hands on the wheel and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do that. And we will talk about it throughout this episode. So let's start off with this episode. Let's get into the mess that was this episode. Nick and Ace are chatting, and Ace is basically updating Nick on what happened with the conversation with Amaya. You know, the conversation that caused the whole blow up. You know, the conversation of don't touch me. These are my boundaries. Don't call me babe. Don't look at me. I chose you, but I really didn't choose you. I'm going to be open. And guess what? I'm going to still explore. And he's basically telling Nick the way that Maya was talking. Look, that's not a turn on to me. I don't want to pursue that. Meanwhile, Amaya is across the villa talking to Hannah. And she's saying, look, this conversation I had with Ace is crazy. She don't know what to do. She's not feeling it. She's like, I may got to put duct tape over my mouth so I won't say babe. But here's the crazy part that she says. She said, even after the fact of basically don't call me babe, don't touch me, don't hug me, don't kiss me, don't look at me. She said Ace is still her number one. I was taken aback. Ace said he is not pursuing Amaya. Like, I wanted to build a friendship, which I don't understand why. You heard Amaya said, this is not Friendship Island. This is not Friends Island. But he said, I'm not pursuing her in any way. Hannah tells Amaya, hey, don't forget, he had you crashing out a day or two ago. So the fact that he's still your number one, I just want to let you know, keep that on the front of your mind that he don't want to be with you. So we move on to Alandra and Jeremiah, and they are talking on the dock, and it's actually good to see Jeremiah talking to another girl in episode 8, finally, right? And he's basically updating Alandra about the whole news about him finding out that Huda is a mother, and he said, I never talked to a girl with kids before. Alandra asks him, did it change his thought process pertaining to Huda? He said that he really wouldn't know until he sees the kid, until he's on the outside, etc., right? Alandra said that she almost got in a relationship with someone who had a kid, and she didn't pursue it because you got to deal with the baby mother, you got to deal with the baby fathers, and that could be a slippery slope, right? Because they will always have access to that person. I agree. Nevertheless, she said that she loves what Jeremiah and Huda got going on. And she says in the confessional that, look, if Jeremiah going to be in, he needs to be all in because single mothers deserve love too. Now, my thing is this. Was Alandra being phony here? I don't know if she's being phony because I think she's just skeptical about Jeremiah, right? If Jeremiah proves himself to actually be 100% for Huda, I don't think Alandra would have a problem with him. But the thing about Jeremiah and the thing about us as a community that watches the show, we know Jeremiah is in it for self. He's not in it for Huda and everything that pertains to her. So that's why I could kind of see why she felt like, hey, Jeremiah is love bombing her. We don't really know how he really feels because he kind of going with the flow. But little did he know that he thought he was a love bomber until he got with a terrorist who knows her way around some love bombing. You get what I'm saying? They be love bombing each other, guys. So Shelly and Austin are chatting, and Austin said that he likes her so much, but seeing her with Ace makes him feel weird. And he really wants to give her the space and the respect for her to figure it out. And she understands, right? And this is one position to where at first Shelly and Austin confused me because I thought they agreed that they would be platonic. This was before they actually did the recoupling, to where there wasn't no spark, that they would still figure it out. But now you can kind of see that, hey, she wants to give Austin a fair shot. Now, I don't know if she likes Austin. She says she's starting to like Austin, but I don't really know how truly is that statement. It could also be in a patronizing way of like, oh, I like Austin. He's sweet. Or basically, I'm supposed to like him because he chose me and he's a nice guy and he's giving me attention and this is who I'm coupled up with. So I'm supposed to like him. But at the same time, they still trying to find their way in basically attraction, the spark. But he just basically letting her know, hey, every time you with Ace, it does make me feel weird. It is what it is. Jeremiah and Huda are talking about their previous conversation they had at the bar the other night about, hey, where she basically was like, hey, are we closed off? Or are you closed off? And he was like, it's early. Remember he said that last episode? Okay. So they talking about that. And he said that he is not pursuing other people, but he hoped that it doesn't happen. So they talking. She's like, hey, what's up with this not being closed off? Are you pursuing somebody? Are you like, why don't you want to be closed off? And he's like, hey, I'm not pursuing other people, but I hope it doesn't happen, as if it's like magic, as if he's not in full control over his actions and things like that. He said, because I can't sit here and say nothing will ever happen. So he's kind of talking for himself while at the same time recusing all accountability of what may happen in the future. He's hedging his bets. He's like, right now, I'm not pursuing other people. Of course, right now, you're talking to Huda. Right? He said, in the future, I can't see in the future. Right? He said, I hope it doesn't happen. You know, something could take control over my body. Because I can't sit here today and say nothing will ever happen. Of course not. He said, it's only day 7. Okay. Huda said, so you are pursuing other people. And he begins to talk in circles. And he's like, oh, well, no, yeah, no. But, and he eventually lands on, as of right now, no. Of course, he's speaking for the present moment. As of right now, no, I'm not pursuing nobody. Right? He said, I'm with you till the wheels fall off. Hopefully that doesn't happen. He has a lot of hope, right? But I can't make no promises. Huda asked him, so should I start talking to other people when they come in? And Jeremiah's like, whoa, how did you draw that connection? I am not actively pursuing other people. Have I shown you that? And this is where the manipulation and the child games come in, right? Literally episodes ago, Jeremiah, you was over here talking about how you won a lottery ticket with Huda. Right? Episodes ago, you was like, I have no problem putting all my eggs in the basket. Episodes ago, you basically was like, I'm all in with Huda until you find out that she's a mother. And then all of a sudden, the migraines came back to your head, right? And this is what I'm saying. Jeremiah, it's kind of hard to take him seriously. Because as you can see right here, he's not taking accountability for his future actions right here in the present moment. He's over here saying, I hope it doesn't happen. I'm here till the wheels fall off. Meanwhile, he's over there. He is metaphorically building his parachute. He is ready to eject on this relationship because he's not feeling the whole, hey, I'm not trying to be stepdad. And mind you, Huda, like I said, he thought he was love bombing. But until he met a real love bomber, Huda's already talking about their marriage. She already talking about wedding day. And he's like, whoa, this is too fast. This is day 7, remember? You wasn't talking that day 7 like back when you were talking about you won a lottery ticket, but let's continue, right? So he says, whoa, how did you draw that connection? I am not actively pursuing other people. Have I shown you that? Basically, translation is, hey, don't pursue nobody while you with me. Wait till I get somebody, and then you free to do whatever you want, right? Huda said, yeah, and guess what? You know what? You have shown me that you are not pursuing nobody right now, and you are doing great. And then all of a sudden, he said, you know what? I hate when you say that. It feels like you're talking to a kid or a dog, like you're doing great. And I will say this, though, to give him bail out of jail. It does sound condescending in a way. What do you mean I'm doing great? Just say thank you. Like thank you is such a powerful term. You don't have to say you're doing great. But it all started with the whole y'all need some real men. You know what I'm saying? So she feels like, in a way, I don't think she's purposely being condescending, but I think she is basically, I give her bail out of jail. I don't think she's being condescending with the whole you're being great type of thing. But at the same time, Jeremiah, everything feels very sensitive to him right now. That's why he compared it to like a kid. I wonder if he would have felt that way if he didn't know she had a kid, or if she didn't have a kid. He said, it just feels like you're talking to a kid or a dog. He added that kid in there. He could have just said dog, with the patting on the head and things of that nature. So she's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. She said, do you want to shower together tonight again? And he said, no, man, you're rude. You gaslight me whenever you're tired. You don't want to listen to me. You gaslight me and like, I don't want to shower with you. And she's like, well, maybe if you claim me. And he's like, shut up. I do claim you. Now, what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think Jeremiah tripping? I think he's tripping because I think he's not honest. I think he's a little boy. And we recognize his games on day one and things of that nature. The fact that it's on day one and you want it to be very, very closed off metaphorically and things of that nature. And now you find out that she has a kid and now you can't smile showing your teeth anymore. Now it's kind of, whenever she's talking, the light in his eyes is gone now. Because here's the thing about it. Now it was all fun and games. Now Huda's over here. She keeps talking about life outside the villa. And you're like, yo, now it kind of feels like a countdown to a prison sentence. You're supposed to be on Love Island to have the summer of your life. And now he knows if I stay with this girl, I have to turn myself in to being potentially this kid's stepfather. I have to now insert myself into a life that I did not have before the summer. So he's making his parachute. He's about to eject from this relationship. So it's bedtime, and this is very, very small details, but very major because it comes up later on in the episode. Ace, who doesn't like, physical touch, get the boys off the island, saying you don't like physical touch. If I got to give Bella flack for not wanting to kiss nobody and things of that nature because she's young and she want to have her morals, nothing wrong with your morals. This is just not the show for you. Ace, if you don't like physical touch to where they literally make y'all sleep in the same bed and have challenges to where y'all basically swap DNA every other day and things of that nature to where then get off the show. Listen, the same way as I said, Bella, this ain't the show for you. Ace, this ain't the show for you either, my brother. It can't be. So Ace doesn't like physical touch, but yeah, he's always the one initiating touching Shelly. Ain't that right, Blair Bear? He's over there giving her a hug before bed. Huda came in. I call her Huda. Huda, right? She comes in, give him a high five, and tells him goodnight, and basically said, good night, mister, I know you don't like, to be physically touched and things of that nature. She basically just poking fun, a little sly comment. I thought it was funny. And then he gets in bed with Amaya, and Amaya, of course, saw that he hugged Shelly, and then she said, are you going to hug me goodnight? And he said, respectfully, no. And then they went to bed. Crazy, right? This scene is going to come up later on in the episode. It's the next morning, and Ace woke up, and he's over there talking to Nick, and he's like, hey, I want to plan a yoga date for someone special. Of course, we know it's Shelly. Meanwhile, Shelly is downstairs cooking breakfast for Austin, right? She's in the middle of cooking breakfast. Ace is running around the villa. He getting the yoga mats, right? Nigga's like, I never taught a yoga class before, but I do it for you, bro. Okay, cool. He's getting the yoga mats. He's trying to get things all together. He's all concerned because he's like, oh my goodness, she's downstairs. I wanted it to be a surprise, but you know it is what it is. He approaches the kitchen and he tells her, hey, you're cooking breakfast? And she's like, yeah, I'm cooking breakfast. You want some? He said, yeah, not now. How about you go get dressed? She said, get dressed now? He said, yeah, go get dressed. She stops cooking breakfast for Austin, the person that she initiated the whole cooking for and things like that in the moment before Ace was in the picture, right? She stops cooking breakfast and she goes upstairs to get dressed, right? While she's upstairs putting on some clothes and things of that nature, Amaya confronts her. Amaya's like, what's going on with you and Ace? Because you was one of the girls that I cried to the other day, and now I'm starting to think you kind of took like some information from that, and you are internalizing it, and she's trying to solve equations in her head to where she don't have all the components, right? She don't have the full equation to solve it. She's like, but like now it's weird. And I just need to know what's going on because it's looking messy. And now, basically, she's trying to blame Shelly for her failed relationship with Ace. And I'm like, Amaya, where's your self-worth? How many times this guy got to tell you flat out that he do not want to pursue you? He chose you, and literally on the same night that he chose you to be in a couple with, he said, psych, I don't choose you. I don't choose you. Right? And then he follows up the next day and said, what do you call your partner? He said, oh, I come up with nicknames, maybe babe. He said, okay, don't call me that. Don't call me babe. And he gave you a whole list of things not to do besides a list of things to do. And now you're trying to basically justify of maybe Shelly is kind of dirty macking to get the Ace, and maybe Ace's head is not on straight because she got a hug last night and you didn't. Let's continue, right? So Shelly said, look, she understands how Amaya feels. And Shelly said, look, I'm just telling you this right now. I am genuinely interested in my couple with Austin right now. That is my connection. You get what I'm saying? And while she's trying to talk, Amaya keeps cutting her off. Now she ain't trying to let her talk. The girls in the makeup room are trying to get her to calm down, to stop talking and things like that. And eventually Amaya just lands on, you know what? F Ace, you can have him. And that's why I said we got to send Amaya home. For her peace of mind. Because she will not be able to, unless she watches it back, she really would not be able to really fathom and really get in her head that Ace really just gaslit her, manipulated her, and basically just playing games with her. Unlike no one put him up to it. He just did it. She really can't fathom, and I understand because it came out of nowhere. How do you choose me one night and in the same night you tell me you didn't choose me? She really can't fathom how did this happen so quickly without somebody coming in and being a dirty macker. So she's accusing Shelly of dirty macking. You supposed to be my sister, but whole time you talking to Ace, and that's why Ace kind of feel the way he feel. No, Ace feel the way he feels, and he's operating as if we don't see him on TV because he's a boy. We do not know why. And guess what? Ace do not know why he chose Amaya to be in a couple with. Have you ever had a kid before? Right? I know we have a lot of mothers viewing our channel and things like that, and shout out to y'all. But do y'all have like your kid, or if you have a sibling, a little brother, and they do something stupid, just something stupid? You get what I'm saying? Just something stupid. And then when you confront them and say, why did you do that? And they just look at you like, as if you asked a dumb question. They look like a deer in headlights. I promise you, if we was to ask Ace, why did you choose Amaya during the recoupling if you didn't want to be in a couple with her? He would give us that little deer in the headlight look. As if we're dumb. But let's continue. So she lands on, you know what? You can have him. She's obviously very emotional and things like that. During this time, Ace is downstairs and he's waiting for his girl to come downstairs for the yoga date. She doesn't come downstairs. Olandria come downstairs and she's like, look, emotions are running high right now. Your surprise date is not going to happen. Ace is trying to figure out like what happened. She said, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I will say this. You need to be fully transparent with the people you talk to because people are being accused of being messy. And that's true. Shelly over here catching strays for something that she didn't do. Shelly didn't ruin your relationship, Amaya. But let's continue, right? So Taylor's updating Nick about his progress with Olandria. You know what? I kissed her. You know what I'm saying? Happy for you, Nick, right? Shelly is talking with Austin and Jeremiah. And she is telling them what happened with the whole Amaya thing upstairs in the makeup room, right? And she's like, look, man, like I had all these plans. She's talking to Jeremiah and Austin. Shelly's like, I had these plans to cook breakfast for Austin and things like that. And then he told me to get dressed. And then that's when like Amaya came and she's like, rah, 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 you took my man. What's going on? And it was just weird. And Austin's in the confessional. And he's like, I'm happy that Ace, secret date fell through. And this is where I tell Shelly to take accountability. Because if you are genuinely if you are genuinely interested in building your connection with Austin while you're cooking breakfast for him and Ace says, come here, get dressed, I would have said, I'm cooking breakfast for Austin. You got to take accountability. I'm not saying it's your fault, but own your part. It's your part. Hey, every time Ace comes to pull you, you ain't got to go. You can say, not right now. I'm getting to know Austin right now. I found you. I will find you. But here's the thing about it. Ace feels like, hey, I can pull you whenever I want to. And guess what? You will be pulled. Until you actually stand on 10 toes and say, hey, not right now. Now I got a question. Are you genuinely interested in getting to know Austin? Or is it just you feel like you owe it to him because he chose you? Come on now. Let's be real, Blair Bear. We here late tonight. I know some of y'all got work in the morning. The least thing I can be right now while y'all are losing minutes and hours of sleep is be real with y'all. Shelly needs to own her part. Not saying it's her fault, but if you really wanted to cook breakfast for Austin, I wish someone would stop cooking breakfast for me in the middle to do something else and then come back and be like, you see, man, I was cooking breakfast for you. Why you stop? Let's continue, right? Amaya and Ace is on the dock. Now, this is what I don't like right here, right? Have you ever met somebody who seemed like they are fake mature? And Ace came off as fake mature with how he started the conversation. He's on the dock and he says, so this is how this conversation is going to go, right? I'm going to talk and you will not interrupt me. You're going to talk and I will not interrupt you. We will listen. We will talk to be heard and to be listened to, and we will listen to understand. Like I'm like, bro, why are you trying to seem like you so level headed when you're the one when you're the agent of chaos so far? You are a huge percentage of why she's going crazy right now. And listen here, I understand crazy may seem offensive and things like that, but this is a pure example of have you ever met somebody that say, I wasn't crazy before I met this person? Amaya was not crazy before she had that whole conversation with Ace. Maybe it was hidden and things of that nature, but I can see it right here in this situation, Maya. I'm not blaming you for your crazy. I'm just saying you got to go still. So anyway, they have this conversation. She said, last night you hugged Shelly, but you didn't hug me. You kept saying that you wanted to be open, but you never mentioned a name. So now she feels like she's solving a mystery. Because now she's trying to put two and two together with the whole, oh, it's Shelly. Shelly was the person, right? Ace, he begins to talk, and he gets like two sentences out, but Amaya starts to cut him off. He says, stop cutting me off. I don't hear nothing you are saying, right? You talking with your hands and yelling over me. So let me make myself clear. This is what Ace is saying. I no longer want to explore you. I do not want to explore this connection. You are free to explore other guys in this house. And she's basically like, fine, okay, good. Me too. I agree. And I'm like, oh, her wheels is coming off. Because just the other night, she was like, Ace is still my number one. And then he comes back the next day to basically tell you the same thing that he's been telling you since he coupled up with you on the first night. That of the recoupling. And now she thought she solved it. And now the wheels are spinning even more. So let's keep going. Austin and Charlie are talking in the sauna about Ace's failed attempt at the yoga date. And he's like, maybe I need to do something, something active with Shelly. Maybe I need to do something, right? So we go on to Nick and Jeremiah. Jeremiah goes over, he's talking to Nick, and he's like, hey, did you talk to Huda? He was like, no, I ain't talk. He said, I ain't talked to her. He said, okay, I guess I'll talk to you. Jeremiah said, watch this, guys. He said, today was the first day where he felt like he couldn't do it no more. Let's stop right there, Blair Bear. I see a lot of people online trying to support Jeremiah. Trying to be team Jeremiah. As if I'm picking on Jeremiah. Jeremiah has always been not genuine. We just seen it. I'm sorry that I can see it in people, in their actions or even non-actions, faster than people who need actual proof. Now, there's nothing wrong with needing proof, but why today is the first day where you felt like you couldn't do it no more? What has changed outside the fact that she is a mother? What's changed? Now you're forced to think about your future for real. So he said today's the first day where he felt like he couldn't do it no more. And he said, like, he brought her breakfast and she said, you did very good. I ain't gonna hold you. That is a weird response to say to somebody if they bring you breakfast. What do you mean you did very good? You said more words than thank you. You could have just said thank you. It's very condescending, right? Even Nick says, like, yeah, it's kind of like patting on top of the head. Sorry, Blair Bear, I'm just using you for demonstration. Jeremiah said, it feels like she's talking to me like I'm her kid. Now he's using that kid example. Oh, he's driving that all the way to the bank. Ever since he found out that she's a mother, he's like, yeah, it feel like she's talking to her kid. Hey, be a man and just say you're not interested, Jeremiah. Why don't you do that? A lot of people feel like Jeremiah was the only one that was actually genuine with his feelings. He found a girl that he liked and he basically with her, he stayed with her and he's not exploring nobody else and we giving him flack while they're not giving him flack and we should praise Jeremiah. Jeremiah, be a man, say you're not interested no more then. Jeremiah is not who he say he is. The only problem is he found somebody else who's basically can meet him at his level and go even further. Right? He said, listen here, I know it's just a little hiccup in the road. It's our first hiccup. Maybe things would be better. But, if she just fixed this, we could just move on and things of that nature. Ace and Olandria are talking. And Ace said, hey, listen here. I moved past everything today with Amaya because she want to know what's going on. How are you feeling? He said, look, I don't let one thing ruin my day. I move past the whole Amaya thing. Right? Austin, meanwhile, pulls Shelly for a meditation session. Right? And now they over there doing meditation, his version of meditating and things of that nature. And all I can think about is, hey, there go that monkey again, clashing the cymbals in his head. There's times where you hear Austin talking, you're like, okay, Austin, that sounded smart. Okay, I see you. And then there's other times to where that monkey comes in and it just clashing the cymbals in his head. He said, we are going to do the samurai. We are going to do the bow and arrow. She said, where did you learn this stuff from? He said, in my psychedelics. I said, okay, that's all I needed to know. Right? So he's looking over and he's like, I want to pull Shelly for a chat. Olandra's like, well, go ahead and pull her. How long has she been down there with Austin? He said about 30 seconds. Olandra's like, look, if you want to pull her for a chat. Right? Ace goes down in the middle of their whatever session they having and he pulls Shelly for a chat. Can I talk to you, Shelly? And what does Shelly say? Yes. Here's the thing, Shelly. Take accountability for your part that you play in the love triangle. You could have easily said, after I'm done with Austin. You could have easily said, no, not right now. I'll find you. You could have easily did that. But I digress. right? Ace, basically, he's up there, doing his normal thing of basically sweet talking Shelly, letting his intentions be known to her, to us as well. He tells us in the confessional that Ace said that he wants to focus all his attention on Shelly. She is everything a person can want. Then why didn't you choose her when it was time to be coupled up with her? That's what I'm saying, man. He talks a good game, but when it comes down to be a man and make a choice and stand by it, he didn't do it. I gotta be honest, man. Now when I hear Ace and he's 22 years old and he's over here talking about I never been in love, and I'm like, okay, what part did you play of the reason why you're not in love? You're not ugly. You seem like you have a nice personality and things of that nature, nice smile. You be dancing on TikTok from what I was told. Why haven't you been in love? How have you been sabotaging yourself? Because based on the evidence that we've seen on the show, you're not mature enough for love, brother. You like to play these games, these little player vibes, as Amaya said. So whole time you talking to Shelly with the sun beaming in your face, and you are a guy that doesn't like physical touch, but yet you always touching somebody. You taking her hair, touching her hair, taking it out of her face, pulling it. It's like, so someone who don't like physical touch, you always initiating the touching. Stop touching folks. If you don't like being touched. All right, listen here. It's not for me to understand. It's just me to recap, review, edit it, and give it to y'all, right? Austin, right, he's talking to Alandria. Austin tells Alandria that he is hoping that he will be out. He was hoping that he will be out of the Ace and Shelly love triangle. Alandria tries to encourage him, saying, hey, just keep trying because she does really like you. And I don't know how true that is. I think she likes the fact that he chose her, but does she really like him? I think she likes him in a grateful way. Thank you for choosing me, right? So we move on. Shelly says she really wants to get to know Ace, as we back to Ace and Shelly talking. She says she really wants to get to know Ace, but like he's being mysterious. Like I want to get to know the real you, not the mystery you. He's gonna say, I'm not being mysterious with you. And Shelly says to us in the confessional, she feels like she's in a pickle right now. She's in the middle, being pulled side to side, right? She's swag surfing. You get what I'm saying? And she feels like, hey, I got Austin on one side and he's peaceful, and I got Ace, my little fireball. Now let me tell y'all, let me decipher that for a second, right? You describe Austin as peaceful only because he's not the fireball. You get what I'm saying, Blair Bear? Right? She didn't really give anything that will basically give credit to Austin as being a real choice. She basically just say, hey, you're not Ace, basically. Like, we know Ace is a little fireball. He got a little player in him. He's a flirt. He's mysterious. But with Austin, I just don't have to worry about that type of stuff. But still, even though you don't have to worry about that type of stuff, what is it that you like about Austin? Outside the fact that he's peaceful. So it is the evening. Everybody's getting dressed. Everybody's getting ready. Austin gets a text, and tonight's game night, and we're going to play a game called Pucker or Pie, right? The point is, hey, one person's going to read the question, and when they get done reading the question, they will answer it with a name, and then they will flip a coin, and if it lands on the pie, that person will get pied, or if it lands on the pucker part, they will get a kiss. So, like, for example, Nick goes up there, and he asks the question, which Islander is the best kisser other than your partner? He says Olandria. Now, of course, I knew he was going to say Olandria. And truth be told, I do have a little bit of hope that Nick and Olandria will be together. Just a little bit. About like 15%, right? Then, when he flipped the coin, it landed on the pie. So instead of him getting to kiss Olandria, he pied Olandria. Olandria got pied. Hannah, her question was, which Islander is the most basic in the bedroom? She said Austin. Austin gets pied. Shelly asks, which Islander regrets coupling up with their current partner the most? That was her question. Which Islander regrets coupling up with their current partner the most? She said Ace. Ace gets pied, right? Taylor's question was, which Islander would be the most crazy in the bedroom? He said Shelly. Shelly gets pied, right? Sierra, her question was, which Islander is here for clout over love? She said Ace, right? They flipped the coin. She flips the coin, and it landed on the pucker, so they kissed. You know, someone who don't like physical touch and all that things like that. Outside of challenges, he said he gave her a big kiss. Okay. Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah question is, which Islander is the most high maintenance? He said, Huda, my girl. It takes her a long time to get ready, right? They puckered, right? Olandria, her question was, which Islander is most likely to fake a relationship to make it to the finals? She said Jeremiah, and it landed on puckered. But his kiss was an actual peck. He kept it very respectful. And guess what? I'm not hating him for that. Amaya, the question she got is, which Islander is the most boring? She said Nick. They puckered, right? Charlie, his question is, which Islander is the most flirtatious, right? He said Amaya. Amaya got pied. Huda, her question is, which Islander is secretly waiting for someone better to walk in? She said Ace. Ace gets pied. He did not like that, right? Nick, his question, which Islander gives Big D energy? He chose Austin. They puckered. Just a small, fun kiss on the cheek against two guys, or whatever you want to call it, right? Taylor, his question is, which Islander is trying too hard? He chose Amaya, and they puckered, right? Sierra, my favorite question. Sierra, which Islander gives red flag vibes? That was her question. She said Shelly. She said Shelly immediately. Right after she read the question, she said Shelly. Did she go tell us in the confessional? She said, do you know how long I've been waiting to get my lips on Shelly? I said, wait a minute now. I said, Shelly's person may not be in the villa right now. And now I might stand corrected. Her person might be in the villa. And it might be Sierra. And they shared a passionate kiss, right? It was fun, right? So, and the one thing that I found funny about the coin flip, Sierra didn't even flip the coin. She literally just threw it flatly so it can land on the pucker part, right? Ace, his question is, which Islander has the nicest smile, right? He says Shelly, right? And he flips the coin, right? And it lands on pucker, right? Ace takes a lick of a pie, though, and then he starts to make out with her. I ain't gonna hold you. It looked disgusting to me, but, you know, if he likes it, if they like it, sure, right? Austin, his question is, which Islander is most likely to cheat outside the villa? He said Hannah, right? It lands on pie, and he pies her, but then she kisses him. See, look, in my notes I wrote he kisses her, but no. After he pies her, she kisses him, and then he picks her up and basically show her how basic he is in bed. I ain't gonna hold you. Charlie. I know it's just a game, but you might gotta keep your eyes on Hannah. Because in this moment, she could have just accepted her pie, but she wanted to kiss Austin, and she kissed Austin. But guess what? It could just be a game, right? And that's how the game ended. So the guys gathered after the game, and Taylor said that, hey, man, I took one for the team with Amaya, man. I'm just letting you know, I got your back, bro. Taylor, worry about getting the confidence to make it to second base with your current connection, please. Stop worrying about trying to basically impress Ace, right? The girls are talking on their side, and Amaya is upset about being called a tryhard, and she want to get clarification, and she's ranting, and then they over here talking about rate Taylor's kiss, and she said, I rated a -5 out of 10, and Landry just looking at her as if she's crazy, and that's why I'm like, Amaya, you're spinning out of control, baby girl. We got to get you home. We got to get you home for your safety and ours, right? Huda said she feels bad for Ace because her question was, which one is looking for the next thing to come in, you know? And she's like, look, I didn't want to say him, but based off of his actions, it's true. You get what I'm saying? Ace is talking to the guys over on his side of the villa, And he's like, I'm mad at your girl, Jeremiah. Your girl pissed me off a little bit. He felt that she wasn't being truthful. Jeremiah said, interesting. Like, basically, he just brushing it off. Nick and Ace is like, I know that's your girl. Now they about to tag team him. They said, I know that's your girl and all, but she's coming off as fake. Nick said, Huda seems fake about how she's going through this whole experience. She's just too closed off for it to be day 8. Now, Jeremiah's over there like saying interesting. Now he's in the confessional talking about, man, like, these are my boys. And if they saying that, like, I wonder what's going on. And he said his feelings was hurt. Now, this is why I say Jeremiah is a little boy. Jeremiah, there will come a time in your life to where you have to stand by yourself. There will come a time in your life to where, guess what? Everybody will say one thing, but you are the one that said you got a lottery ticket. You are the one that said, I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. You are the one that likes the girl. So it doesn't matter what the other guy should say. Hell, you don't even like Ace. But with Nick, now you don't really understand, or I don't think he really knows how close Nick is with Ace. How they all basically is Nick, Ace, and Taylor, and things like that. So he don't even know that Nick is over here really doing the work of Ace of trying to put doubt in his head. And my thing is, as a man, you can't allow another man to put doubt in your head. I know some people may be like, well, how many times can you basically resist the doubt? How many times? If everybody's saying it, like, what can you do? You stand up as a man. If this is your girl, claim your girl. But his actions say otherwise than his words. When given an opportunity to be closed off last episode, he said, no, it's too early, right? Obviously, that lottery ticket ain't feeling like a lottery ticket. It is what it is, right? So Ace and Huda, they go to the side to talk, and he said that he doesn't like the side comments that she's been saying, basically, but with the whole, like, personal touch thing, me and Amaya going through some things. It just feel like you have a vendetta against me, right? He tells her that also your answers was fake. Like, I just feel like you wasn't being real with your answer. She basically just apologized and said, like, I bang with you, Ace. It's not like that. Now, here's my thing with Ace. Ace, who are you to tell somebody that their answers is fake? When Taylor literally just came over there and just said, hey, bro, I got your back with the whole Amaya question. I'm very confused by this. Is this for the love of Ace, or is this Love Island? So, Ace, you can't have the audacity to say someone's answer is fake because you don't like the fact that someone chose you when you know you don't like Amaya. But let's continue, right? Amaya is heading towards Taylor. She's basically like, what's up with your answer about me trying too hard? And he's basically giving like, hey, man, I just feel like Ace told you what's up, and then you still trying to pursue it. And Amaya's like, wait, you don't even know the whole story. So the night before, he hugged Shelly, but then he don't hug me, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, there go those wheels. It's spinning again. We got to send her home. We got to send her home, guys. And Taylor's like, it is what it is. Like, you got it, right? While everybody's back together around the fire pit, Huda goes around and she approaches Jeremiah. Jeremiah kind of looks like he's out of it. He's there, his body is there, but his mind is somewhere else. She asked him, what's wrong? He said nothing. And then he gives her a thumbs up, right? Smiling with no teeth, Now she feels confused and she's sitting down and she's like, he don't want to talk to me. Like, I think he's mad at me. She says to Nick, why is Jeremiah mad at me? He said, I don't know why he would be mad at you. Okay. She goes back to him to pull him for a private conversation. She's like, what's up? Like, what's going on with you? He said nothing. We go back to the group and they are confused and they're like, yo, this game got everybody tripping. They like, what's going on with Jeremiah and Huda? Like, what's going on with them? What happened? Austin points to Nick and Ace and Taylor and them and said they got in his head. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Not Austin clocking these guys for 2 days in a row. And I'm like, that's facts, though. How do you allow these guys to get in your head, Jeremiah, when you're the only one that actually been in a real couple since day one? Come on, man. You got to be a man, man. You gotta swat off those doubts and things of that nature. Or when you have those doubts, you have to actually have those conversations about those doubts, about those hearsay. But the truth of the matter is he don't mind having those doubts because he already started creating his parachute to jump out of this you or mommy plane that he's on right now. on this, oh, when I land back in LA and things like that, she gonna be looking for us to move in to try it out. And then she's already talking about our wedding day because he thought he was a good love bomber, but whole time he didn't know he was dealing with, a terrorist, right? So anyway, Austin said they got in his head. Jeremiah is back over there and he says, look, it's not about you. But he said, look, the comments from the guys, it just threw him off. It just made me feel some type of way. Huda's like, what is it? He tells them what they said, basically, like, it just feels like you're not real and how you basically closed off early and things like that. And that, like, you know what? You're just playing it safe. You're not really having the Love Island experience. You're just playing it safe. She passionately starts stating her case, talking about how we got to keep an open lines of communication. And he's like, hey, look, I don't want to make a scene. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be I don't want to be about the drama. And she's like, look, if I come to you and ask you what's wrong, how come you not holding me? Hold me the way you usually hold me. He's like, I'm not going to hold you the same way all the time. You know what I'm saying? And she's basically pleading her case about, like, why does he feel this way and how they can get out of this little rut that they're in. But here's the thing about it, Huda. You can't get out of it because at the end of the day, you're going to wake up tomorrow a mom. And he don't want nothing to do with that. That is basically the end of that episode. We see a preview for next episode, and Mr. I don't like physical touch is licking pie off of the cleavage off of Shelly. Yet he's the one initiating touch. I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. I see y'all tomorrow night.